Hello, I'm Jim Campanini, and welcome to the Grapefully Yours Wine Podcast. It's been several weeks, Mike, since we've been here. What, 3 weeks? I think we've all been enjoying summer, late summer.
You have been. You've been globetrotting and out of the city for a while. So welcome back both ways.
Thank you. Yeah, my co-host Mike Pigeon, while I was away, he took care of the big estate, made sure that no raccoons broke into the house. He did a great job. But first, let me get some little work that our producer, Teddy Panos, is in the corner. How you doing, Teddy?
Good morning, guys. Doing great.
Yep, I don't get my bagel if I don't say this, So this InsideLowell podcast is coming to you from the WellPoint Studios. WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Remember that. WellPoint now, especially with the what's going on in this state with all the hospital, with Stewart hospitals and stuff. You want someone reliable, And look what WellPoint has done for us, this beautiful studio we have in downtown Lowell.
Yeah, WellPoint, a point well taken.
I love that. So since our show in August, I've been on the road. I got my new Indiana Fever hat. I went out to Indiana.
Caitlin Clark, I hear you saw her and got some photos of her
play.
Too, yeah.
Oh, beautiful game. And my daughter joined me. She flew in from Charlotte. I flew in from Boston. Great flights. We met my sister Pamela and her husband Dick Calloway. They live right on a lake in Cicero, Indiana. They had the season tickets. They invited us to the game. 18,000 people, sellout crowd. Same place where the Indiana Pacers play. Matter of fact, there were a couple of Tyrese Halliburton who played for the U.S. gold medal winning team at the Olympics. He was there in the front row and watching Caitlin and Kelsey Mitchell and Alsea Boston, the center there, and they played a great game, and it was riveting. It was good. The fans get all whipped up. The kids, the young boys, the girls. Yeah. So it was a great take. It was a great take,
Good.
So I like that, and then I went to from there. I came home after 4 days, repacked, and headed to my fraternity brother's ski lodge in Ludlow, Vermont, Okemo Mountain. And when I say he owns a ski lodge, it was a log cabin, biggest logs I've ever seen, cedar, those big cedar logs. Beautiful, absolutely. 6 bedrooms, 5 baths.
It's hard to describe it until you see those photos that you showed me. Wow, but shows
wrap-around deck, 2 outdoor fireplaces.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And then he added the fireplace inside, chandeliers, and so that was before we went up there to play golf and just sit around, all fraternity brothers. There were 4 of us. 8 was total in the group. We were on our way to Saratoga for 5 days. But we said this year, let's go to Tom's lodge. He invited us to sup. We sat out there at night, cool weather. It was like in the high 50s at night, cooled off. Sat around the fire, drank some nice wine. He's got a nice collection of Cabernet Sauvignon, California, and Brunello. I started him several years ago on Brunello di Montalcino. And so he had a nice selection, Altesino, Poggio, Il Poggione.
You always have good wines.
And he said, whatever you want, whatever you guys want, and we tasted a little of that. But we played golf in these beautiful mountain courses. We went up to Killington Mountain and played the Green Mountain National. The elevation, the changes, and I was amazing that some of the trees were already starting to change over,
Yeah.
But the view, the conditions, everything verdant green, it was just so beautiful playing golf and in the 70s. And then we played, the best course I played was Fox Run Golf Course right in Ludlow. It was manicured. It's a municipal course. Cost about $80 to play with the golf cart, but everything was lush, perfect. The greens were cushiony. It was
And you were able to enjoy all this with ponies on your mind, running in circles.
well. I was trying to clear my mind, of all those all those thoughts. But we had a great stay there, and then then we drove. It was about an hour and a half from his home in Ludlow, front door, to our hotel. We stayed in Ballston Spa, the Hyatt, which is 7 miles from the racetrack.
Saratoga.
Yeah. We got in there, and the rooms were ready early, so it was good. And then the other group, the 4 guys, one came in from 2 came in from Rhode Island, Doc LaFazia. He came up there, and then John Cunningham flew in from Pennsylvania, Mike Matone from Florida. So it was a great group, and we went to the track and showed our poor handicapping skills.
Great week.
We drank some great wine.
Yeah.
It was a great wine. So it was a good to get away. But then, it's always nice to come home. When I came back, I saw all these new signs up in Lowell, and it looked really good. The new motto here, "Great minds think Lowell." I don't know, Teddy, where'd that come from? The Chamber of Commerce, or is that from the City Hall? Or no, great minds think Lowell.
I think that's the city.
It's city, yeah. So, what do you think about that? What do you think? Great minds think Lowell. Something different? I mean,
well, that probably has to do with smart people in startup companies, and they're still trying to get those people into the city, which hasn't worked too well in the past. But
it's different. I think it goes well with
you got to have some type of hook.
Yeah,
whether it works or not.
There's a lot to like about Lowell. I mean, that's still that's still a great line. It's a little old, so this is creative, and I like it. Great minds like Lowell. Does that mean if you don't have a great mind like me that I can't like Lowell? But anyway, it was nice to see those banners up, because used to talk about the city doesn't do enough to promote itself, especially the good things in the downtown and stuff like that. So it was a welcome sign to see, because a lot of cities, and you see that in upstate New York. When I went to visit Walla Walla, Washington, and Drew Bledsoe and the Oregon wine country, they got those things all over the place in the small towns, advocating for their towns, and even events. They got these events banners, that tell you they're going to have the festival this week, and they keep changing it, So you can do that, all the time. So let's see what happens,
Then you were lucky enough to come home, and Mary Lee had that beautiful list of 14 chores for you to do, and get the road running.
Yeah, I had to, it took me a month to get that pergola ready. I was 18 years old to paint the pergola, but it was nice coming back. But you wait all year for Saratoga. It's only run from the last week in July to Labor Day, and you wait all year for it. But we had some stunning days, and we actually had a profitable trip.
Did okay.
So we made out okay. One of the horses that won was a big hunch. It ran on I think it was Monday, closing day. Montalcino, Brunello di Montalcino. Irad Ortiz, one of the greatest jockeys in the world, was riding it, and it paid $7. So all the boys, we just we played it. We did. We won. So everybody was happy there. A couple of other hunches came in, and we hit a 10-cent superfecta for $1,200. 3 of us. We pooled our money together, and the ticket cost us $36. We picked out 6 horses just at random. Okay, and we put in the bet, and we boxed 6 horses. It cost us $36, and it was unbelievable. The 3 favorites came off the board the $1 superfecta paid $12,600,
Oh.
so we got 10 cents of that. So we won $1,260. Three guys we split for a 10-cent bet. It was unbelievable. So that got us through.
Yep. Did the trip. Yep.
That got us through. So and it paid for my new muffler. So
There
God
we go.
bless. So we had fun.
So,
But the talk around the campfire, as you well know, we've been enjoying our summer wines, right? You've been drinking a lot of, whites. You don't normally drink whites, but you've had some whites
couple,
and the light reds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now you feel that coolness in the air at night. Thoughts about sitting around the fireplace or outdoors on the deck, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With a little fire going in the fire pit and stuff.
It's coming. 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks.
Yeah. So, the question was, Jim, what do you, what do you start drinking? And the other big question was, if you're going to start a wine collection, what are some of the foundation wines you should have in that collection? And so as to the first question, it's easy. You start drinking the heavier wines right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can still drink your whites and everything else, but it's time of the season when the meals get a little heartier, whether you make stews, and bigger plates. It's lighter fare during the summers and stuff. So hey, anything that you enjoy, I say you drink, whether it's but this is the time, the Cabernets take over at night with the meals, the Valpolicellas, if you're looking to Italian wines, Merlot, even Zinfandel. So continue to drink what you like, but I'm just saying this is the time to make the changeovers. You go to a little more alcoholic wines. Mm-hmm. And higher alcohol and the textures just a little heavier on the mouth and stuff like that. Do you agree?
Yep. And higher alcohol, only by 1%, but a little more boot to it.
What do you like to drink at this time of year when you start coming into, the holiday season? You get.
Well, I just finished up a couple of bottles of Pinot Noir that I had because it's a lighter wine, and not that you can't. It's still a great wine in the fall, winter, anytime. But I kind of put it behind me a little bit now at the end of the summer, so I had a couple of bottles and do that, and now I'll go back to my Italian wines that I like, a little heavier, but a little.
Even those blends. Cabernet and what are they, Bordeaux style blend or whatever. They're all good right now. I think Pinot Noir is an all year wine, just like Spanish and Chilean Grenache and whatever. But there are some wines that take a little precedence right now with some of the meals you'd be cooking. So we talked about that as we were drinking and smoking cigars and stuff like that. But the key question was, about the foundation wines for a collection if you're going to start it. And you can collect any wines you want, but if you're going to be a serious collector, it's not those $15, $20 bottles of wine. Those are wines you can get anytime. Buy a half case of them, keep around for drinking. Those everyday drinking wines, But if you're really serious about collecting, this is how I started years ago when I was working and I had a lot more disposable income. You gotta collect. First of all, like I say, collect what you like, what you've tasted. But there are also some bottles that you acquire because they are in short supply and in demand. If you can get a couple of those bottles, you want to put those in. That's a story for another day. But I focused when I got my wine certification, for the Italian wines. I really truly came to love, some of those more expensive wines that were unique in themselves. They were low production. They had a story behind them, a history. And so the three that we have here in front of you were, three of the original Super Tuscans. that have put Italian wines on the world, the world message board. Once they came out, I mean, no one really knew about them, but once they came out, people tasted them. They rivaled the Bordeaux. They were styled after Bordeaux because they were blends. Up until the 60s and 70s, Italian wines, they all had to be rigorous, and you had to use Italian grapes, or everybody would snub you and everything else. And you were going to say something?
Yeah, when they came out, they ruled the roost for a few years. And how long was that? Probably about 10 years. If you didn't have Super Tuscans, you were missing the boat, and then they...
Well, yeah, and then and it was short production, so everybody wanted them. And I mean, the main thing was the quality. Bordeaux wines were known for centuries, right? And the Bordeaux blend, Cabernet, Merlot, Petit Verdot, those were recognized worldwide, and everybody wanted them because they were good French wines. The quality was high. Well, were these Super Tuscans for Italy going to have the same quality? Well, in the 1960s. You had pioneers who started experimenting and say, hey, we want to make the wines that we want to make. And the Italian authorities, they butt heads with them because the Italian authorities wouldn't recognize their efforts. And after they tried to discourage them and but the wines that were produced were first produced by these families for their own, to drink on their own and stuff. And then as other people started trying, said, wow, you should bring this to commercial markets. And they started growing Bordeaux varietals because they wanted to say, hey, our terroir land has the same value and qualities as some of those, Bordeaux region wines. We can make good Cabernet. We can make good Merlot.
And they did.
And they showed that they could, in Tuscany and then in Western Tuscany, the Morena coast, which is now became Bulgari, right along the Mediterranean, the Meridian Sea. So I told my friends, just like told everybody else, the three wines that I started out with, were Tignanello, the Antinori family, and this is from Tuscany. This is this is the only one of the Super Tuscans that was made with Italian grape. The base foundation is Sangiovese. Okay, so they blended a little, Sangiovese, and they put a couple of other local reds in it, but mostly 75 to 80% of it is all Sangiovese, and so it still has that Italian basis, and stuff. And then you got the Onalaya from Bulgari, okay, and this is a little different because Onalaya was made with Cabernet Sauvignon as the main grape, and they also use Merlot. I believe that's the one with they use the Bordeaux varietals: Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot. Okay.
So if someone did start a wine collection, he had a couple of bottles like this, he'd be taken a little more serious that he's in it. Yeah, because
you're going to spend.
Foundation.
The Tignanello can cost up to $200, $220 a bottle. It ranges. The older bottles now go in that range and more. When the new release comes out, it's usually around 180 to 220. I buy my wines at Vino Italiano. I always get my discount because if you get in early, he usually gets it, puts out the notice 6 months in advance that it'll be coming out, and you line up, and he sells out at a good price that he gives you. Same thing he does with the Onalaya and the Sassicaia. And the thing is, you look at these places where these wines come from, it's like a sacred ground. I mean, the Tignanello vineyard in Tuscany, where the Antinori is grown. I mean, the latest edition of Wine Spectator, you can see this. They select the best 10 vineyards in the world, and Tignanello is one of the 10. I mean, if you see it, you'd say, God, you'd lie down in the middle of those vines and say, I can stay here. It's like, if you like the beach and lie down at the beach, you're like a vineyard. I mean, it's so beautiful, the tranquility, the serenity, the blue sky. There's cypress trees around it. And they do their farming with, there's animals, cows, what is it? The Chiana beef comes from that area, Tuscany and stuff. I mean, so it's so beautiful that they take care. It's like a reserve, So beautiful landscape and everything. And then Onalaya and Bulgari, I mean, the vineyards almost go right down to the edge of the cliff that overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. Beautiful. So it's beautiful. And then you get the first, and I got this all wrapped up. It's just, this is the way it comes and everything. It's just a beautiful. This is the 𝙒𝙚𝙎𝙪, one of the original.
Now you have a vertical of those, don't you?
Well, that's we'd get into that, but look at I mean, all of these are distinctive bottles. But this is Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon. Now, at the winery, they only produce 3 wines. There, Tenuta. It's the estate is Tenuta San Guido. Okay, Carducci, and this is the 2020. And like I said, the Onalaya, and I got the review here from Spectator Selections. It just received a 98-point review from Wine Spectator, and they got them in their highly recommended collectible section. So both 𝙒𝙚𝙎 and Onalaya are listed in that section this week in Wine Spectator, and they put the average price for the bottle, $280 a bottle. Okay, which seems about right. The bottle I got right here, I think I get 10% off. So, which saves a little money, when you're buying a couple bottles. And the 𝙒𝙚𝙎, that also got a 98-point rating. That's average price was $300, and I paid a little less than that for my 𝙒𝙚𝙎 and stuff. But this is the Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon, and why it's interesting is because that's all they grow at this winery. They got 2 vineyards. One for Cabernet Sauvignon, one for the Cabernet Franc. So they're 100% into this. They only produce 180,000 bottles of the wine a year, and I think it's even less for Onalaya and Tignanello. So you can see it's a supply and demand issue too, when the whole world wants it. And these wines are consistent from year to year. Very rarely do their ratings go below 95 points. So, and once in a while it comes up with a classic bottle, 100 points. But don't let that be the only recommendation. The thing is the taste.
Yep.
Okay. So, anything to add?
No, those are 3 good wines. I know you've got a good collection, and there's 3 of them.
Yeah. So how I would start, okay? When I certainly was working and had more disposable income, I started out with 4 to 6 bottles per year of each, and this is going back, 15.
A lot of years.
20 years, okay? Mike talked about the vertical. The vertical is when you have bottles from each year, and you can go back then and taste the differences as they age. And these are all age-worthy wines. The last 30 to 50, 60 years in a proper cellar.
The problem is with tasting the different years, you had to open the bottles, and that's it. Once you open a bottle, there's a $300, $200 bottle gone. So
yeah, and that's why sometimes, you know, I've been reluctant. Like my Mary Lee, the wine goddess, says, Jim, when are you going to open these bottles? They're just taking up more room and stuff. And they're so, I go down there, and Mike's been down there and stuff, and just to sip an Italian wine with it's a Chianti and just look at the bottles year to year, and then check out the reviews and stuff. And I say, gee, at some point, Mike, we're going to start opening these bottles and taste them, and we try one a year at a special event and stuff. But going back to, if you collect the 4 to 6, if you got the money, you're spending 4 bottles. You know, if you're doing Sassicaia right now, you're spending, you know, $1,200. But you got to determine if you're going to be a serious collector and you love wine. You know, there's other wines that cost much more than that, especially French. French wines, Pitras, and you're spending $3,000 a bottle, $4,000 a bottle, auctions, and but you got to determine. Maybe it's only 2 bottles. What I suggested to my friends: if you're not going to drink them, okay, and just hold them, start out buying 2 bottles, okay. But if you want to try them, buy three bottles. You sell 2, but you drink 1, and you take meticulous notes on it. That's what I am doing right now. I buy 3 bottles of these foundations, put 1 aside for a special occasion or whatever. We try it with friends. Even if it comes down only we're having 1.5 glasses, because, you know, there's 5 glasses, full glasses in a bottle, and that's fine. So I got to wait a whole year for another glass, unless I want to take the deep plunge and start drinking and
Yeah.
But right now, that's what I would say. You don't have to get all 3. But I think any collector, if they're going to have an Italian wing of their collection, okay, you need 2 out of 3 of these wines to be a serious collector. You don't need all 3. Maybe you just buy 1 of the other and just put it away and start building. You'd be surprised. You know, that's how I started. And you know, after 4 or 5 years, you get 5 bottles, 6 bottles. You know, if you're buying 4, drinking 1, you know, after 6 years, after 4 years, you got a case. You know, you got 12 bottles there, and then you're starting adding value, because those wines start, once they're gone, you know, they start building in price.
They do.
Okay, so I get some of these bottles when in their classic years. When they scored, you know, 98 is a good point, but now, you know, they become rarer and rarer, like the 2015s, which was a classic year, the 2010s, they've doubled in price. You know, you look on them in the auctions and stuff, $650, $900, and there are collectors out there who want these bottles, you know. Have I ever sold one? No. I'm not at that stage yet, but you know, I want to share them. I got to make a decision eventually with friends and stuff. And
these wines age very well too. It's not something you have to worry about. Oh, they're 5 years old. It's time to drink. These are made to last. Some say don't drink them until 2026 to 2000. They'll go from 2026 to 2040.
You know, and my friends say, well, Jim, what makes them so different from, you know, the $15 bottle of wine? And I says, well, you know.
Taste it, you'll see.
Yeah, taste it and you'll find out. But the taste is yours, okay? Certainly there are, some wines that stick with you, stick in your membrane. You just love them and you're going to stick with them. And I say, yeah, you drink those. But these are rare wines that have a unique profile. You read the histories of them, the people who started them, the land they came from, the care they've taken with these wines. And most of these places now are destination spots. So if you go to Italy, you can visit these places, you know, and have wine dinners right there. Yeah, it's going to cost you a little money, but it's an experience. You know, it's an experience that's going to stay with you for a long time, and you hear their history and what is going through. I mean, these wines have survived, you know, like the Frescobaldi family that makes, is it the honor it's in Tenori, the Sassicaia, Frescobaldi. They've been in the winemaking business for 700 years. Their family still makes this wine. The sons and daughters and everything. I mean, it's a religion. It's a religion, and this bottle right here, Onalaya, this is very exclusive. You see that? La Generosita that it says.
Yeah.
Every number of years they have an artist who makes the label.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Label.
This was a female artist. I think her last name is Sanzone. I think it's Mariana Sanzone. She was selected to design this special bottle, 2021. It was some sort of anniversary for the winery. I mean, I think it could be 50th, because I think Onalaya came out in, no, that's a definite, but it had to be an anniversary. I should know it, but anyway.
It's a beautiful label.
So you're not going to see this label on every bottle of the 2021. They insert one of these in every half case. So if you buy a case of this, you'll get 2 of these bottles. If you buy 6 bottles, they'll give you 1. Okay, so just think about that. So there's only 1 bottle with this label for every 6. So this is the first year it was done in 2021. So I've got one of those bottles. Right? Yeah. And eventually someone's going to come around and say, Jim, do you have any lunch? And I'm going to say, well, I got 1 bottle, you know, and well,
it's a trophy in your showcase.
Yeah. And the same thing with other anniversary, bottles that they come out with, they're special if you collect. So the biggest of the collection I have, I started originally with Tignanello. I tasted it at a wine tasting. I love it. And this is the dominant one now in my collection of these 3. Okay. My second is Sassicaia. I started soon after that with Sassicaia. So this is about 15. I think I go back. So it's 224. Yes, I started in 2008. 2008. I got Sassicaia going back to, I think, 2010, the classic year. In Onalaya, I believe I started at around 13, 14. So, and, you know, you go down in the wine cellar, and I got drapes over it because you keep the light out, and push back those drapes, turn the light on, and you see this bottle saying, hello, good morning, how are you? And I just sit there and I take an inventory every once, because I bring in new bottles, and I've got my other, American collection, the Bledsoe wines, Long Shadows, and others, but all my Brunellos, Barolos. But those are the ones that bring a smile to my face when I see them and stuff.
When my brother-in-law retired, with some of his money, he bought an old Corvette, one of these collector's items, and he never drove it. He just liked to go out in the garage, look at it, say hi to him. He'd say hi to it, and pride of possession, pride of ownership.
So these bottles, I buy mine from Vino Italiano and Waltham. David Mayon's been running the place. He also owns the La Campagna restaurant. You want to see a nice collection room, you go to La Campagna. It's all behind glass, and you can actually sit and eat you can reserve the table. They serve you and your party right in the collection room, and you're surrounded by these beautiful wines. But you go to his store, you can just check it out, browse. You don't have to buy and get to know the people down there, the experts. They'll help you. Another one is Sam Messina at the Wine Connection. He'll get anything you want. He brings these in small lots because he's got people who are collectors, but he can add you to the list, and you can talk to him about starting your own collection with other wines, because there are that you add to this. So check out Wine Spectator this past month. Wine Spectator, it's got great reviews on Onalaya, Tignanello, and Sassicaia. Read them and
they even gave good notice to your favorite, the Bledsoe wines out there.
Yes,
and
they even mentioned Drew Bledsoe's Bledsoe wines in there. Yeah. They reviewed, which maybe that'll be another show, a talk for another show. Yeah. So if you're going to start a collection, hey, think about it. And you can start one for Cabernet Sauvignon if you want, or Merlot, whatever's your favorite wine. But it's great. The years go by, and you have something that's building in value and appreciating. So do that. All right. Last but not least, I know we've gone a little long. The changeover.
Amarone
della Valpolicella Classico. This is from the Veneto region. This is called meditazione wine, a meditation wine. The Italians, when the weather gets a little cooler at nights, They drink this, sit by the fireplace or outdoors and reflect. Okay, it's good with food, hearty foods. Like I said, ossobuco, a big bolognese, hearty stews. They do a lot of stews up northern Italy during the winter and stuff. Big beef in it and stuff. And it's a great wine. It's not cheap, although it's less expensive than the 3 foundation wines. And this is what I told my friends I'll be drinking now right through to, can you get that?
I got it. I got it to me.
Right through till probably the spring, a bottle of this, not every night. You don't drink this wine every night. You sip it, you read a book. But you're someplace by the fireplace or warm in your house, and you have this. Like I said, you can have it with a meal, but I usually have it after the meal. It's comes from 3 distinctive grapes in the Valpolicella area, and Valpolicella means the valleys that up and down in the Veneto, and it's Rondinella, Molinare, and Asset Corvina. Yes, Corvina is the dominant grape, you're right. And they also use now, they're cutting back on the Molinare. They're using the Aceletto, which is a drink. But it's a great blend, but it's the process. This wine sits for nearly 5 years, ages, before it is released to the public. So you can imagine why they have to charge a little more. This was from the classic year. I met Luca Sperry in 2013. We were at a wine tasting. He told me about the 15, which was still in aging in barrels when it came out. I bought a case. I've only got 3 bottles left besides this. It cost at the time around $90 a bottle. Okay,
so a full-bodied wine, nice nose, it's beautiful.
Can you imagine? This is this is almost 10 years old. Boy, what a smell! And now the process. I told you the process. Not only the aging to get this. Okay, it's a heavy tannic wine, and almost what is that? 16% alcohol. Okay, this is why I say meditation. You sip it, you don't guzzle this wine, and but they do it in a passimento style. So they crush the grape. They don't crush the grapes. They get the grapes. They harvest the grapes, hand selected, put them in these wooden baskets like slats, and then they put them in the lofts okay? Special houses with lofts that are open at both ends so the wind can go through. And they dry them out, sometimes from 3 to 4 months. They want those grapes to raisinate. So all the water leaves, that liquid inside leaves that and becomes a raisin, sugary, okay? Then they crush that grape, and the extract that comes out, because you got to really press it hard and double press it, that is the foundation for the wine. Mm-hmm. Then they take that wine and they pour it over the debris known as what's left of those grapes. So they let the liquid fall through.
It's quite a process.
Those grapes, so it picks up a little more tannic, which adds color, taste, and volume to the wine. Okay, then they ferment the wine, and then it goes through its aging process to refine itself. Because at the beginning, those tannins are very, very strong and harsh, and then it soothes, becomes a velvety, and over time. And this is a wine that can last up to 60 years, believe it, if you sell it properly. What do you think?
It's a good, and you said highly acidic, but after sipping it, there's no dryness in my mouth. It's very smooth for a high acidity wine. It's nice. It's lush. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So Amarone, the taste of an Amarone, it's meant to be bitter. I mean, very, very sweet on the front end,
yep,
and then it turns bitter and dry on the back end. That's why the taste.
It's under control, though, that bitter and dryness.
And the taste profile, it's like mesmerizing how it goes from this lush tasting chocolate, cherry, deep,
chocolate,
deep
cherry,
tobacco and stuff. And then all of a sudden, it just, boom, kicks in again. You say, wow, what is that? Because now it turns dry, and with that little, I don't know, it's described in bitterness. I don't taste bitterness, but it goes dry and gives you all these other expressions. Licorice, licorice hits you on the back end. And,
subtle bitterness. It's very under control, though.
And so you're sipping this by the fire, and you're reading your book, and you're sipping it, and all of a sudden you say, oh, wow. That's it.
You don't want to drink so much that you fall into the fire, though.
No,
you've got to be careful.
It gives you those layers and smooth, it's waves, the nice waves of good Amarone. So this Sperry Amarone, highly rated. This was
2015.
The 2015, which was a classic year for most Italian wines. But the 2010 was the very classic. I've got only one bottle left, the Sperry Amarone from 2010. That's for a special occasion. But the 2015 was the second best year. Now they're saying the 18s, which are being released, they're just coming out now. You can still find some on the shelves. Zenato and others, Tommaso. There's some good Amarone producers. Sperry happens to be one of my best because I like the style. It's got some. It's really refreshing and thick and concentrated. But
it's a good one.
You're going to spend between, you can get them for $40 to $50, but you're going to spend about $90 to $100 for a good bottle of Amarone.
And that's a good bottle.
Yeah. So.
It is. Yeah.
It's exquisite.
Yep.
I mean, it's got texture, so it's a deeper wine. I think if you try it,
and I don't have that feeling of dryness in my mouth. It's just so nice.
And the fruit, man, it'll hit you right off the bat. The cherry and the chocolate
cherry.
Even if you don't know anything about tasting, you got to say, "Wow!"
Taste that one.
I've tasted that at the candy store, and then it just goes like waves. But like I said, you don't want to drink this fast because that alcohol level will go right to your head. But you sip it and you talk. You have conversation. Nice. Like I said, it's a meditation wine. So we've covered a lot of ground today. First show in 3 weeks, and it's going a little longer, but I think it's well worth it. If you have any questions, send them along to the website, InsideLowell.com. You can see our video there, and even on YouTube. We got a YouTube channel. So, any closing thoughts?
Well, if you're going to start a collection, really, you got to be honest with yourself and say, am I willing to spend that money? Because that's the thing to do. Buy 2 bottles, put one in the cellar, and try one for yourself. But it's a big loss from the pocketbook when you try that one. But at least you can talk about it, be familiar with it, and it's what you have to do if you're going to do a collection.
If you're going to start a collection, I think you gotta decide and go all in. It's like anything else. You pay yourself first, whether you're saving money. You pay yourself and buy the precious bottles that you really like and will enjoy later after they age. So, until our next show, we covered a lot of ground. May the wine be with you.
Salute. May it be with you too.